With a vague sense of nostalgia, I can still remember a time when the newspaper was delivered to my childhood home every morning. I was too young to care about the current events, but when I felt the urge to update myself, I would scan the pages of the Detroit Free Press. There's a part of me that liked the scent of the ink on the paper, the action of unfolding the pages until they were double the size of my torso. These are the small details that have evaporated with the ever-rising prevalence of the internet, and unfortunately, this rise is a reminder that the future of the paper is dwindling. With the demise of the newspaper, I think it is important to take a minute to remember what this timeless staple used to represent. It was a read with the morning coffee, tossed onto our doorsteps before we were awake. It was an unbiased report of the most important issues sweeping the nation. We now live in an age where news breaks constantly. I would say that most, if not everybody in this class, now turns to the internet for coverage. Most of us do so without even noticing, seeing a tweet or a blog post on an infinite number of topics and deeming these as reputable sources. We consider ourselves well-versed and competent in subjects that most of the time take more than one's opinion or 140 characters to explain. What newspapers still bring us is that countless bloggers and self-proclaimed journalists cannot is objectivity. Yes, the idea of constantly being up to date with what is happening is comforting, but impossible. Newspapers are well-oiled machines, and there is a price to pay if they fail to do their job. News that breaks on the internet comes just as fast as it goes, recycling through topics more quickly than most of us can notice. It is important that we not lose sense of how important newspapers are to society. Beyond simply providing objectivity, they provide jobs and careers for thousands of people. They are the reason the field of journalism is still prevalent. As the founder of Wikipedia, Jimmy Wales is quoted saying, 1,000 bloggers talking to each other doesn't get you a report from a war zone. Somebody has to take a real risk. It is the journalists at the Times or the Tribune that take the risks and report their lives and jobs on the line, not the estimated 31 million bloggers that muffle our news. In a digital age, it is time to accept the fact that we will never return to the days of papers being delivered to our doorstep. It's rare to still see somebody with a paper in his or her hand, let alone a paperboy making his morning rounds. However, the news that used to be in paper form can now be accessed on our phones, tablets, or computers. I cannot say that we all need to renew our paper subscriptions, as this is idealistic and unlikely. However, we do need to consider the outcomes of a world with no newspaper whatsoever, a world where news lacks objectivity and credibility. There is a collective denial in the journalism world that papers will become obsolete. But there is a future where this is likely. The next time you see a newspaper, pick it up and flip through it. You might just remember why we are still trying to hang on to this dying art.